we know so little about the illegal economy, the informal economy, these black and gray markets that actually make up for almost half of the global economy. So that was the impetus behind this show and why I thought it was important to do so. And yet, I think one of the interesting things to add to that is that black markets have a daily and very strong and impact on our daily lives, and we're not aware of it. So right now there could be a woman next door to you that could be a victim of sex trafficking. There's a deal, outside your door that could be happening that involves illegal guns and drugs. You could have a fake $100 bill in your pocket and not know it right now.
Tell me a little bit about your latest project with Nat Geo, this series, Trafficked. Tell me a little bit how you got into it, what made you want to pursue that, and also, very importantly, how you got into it, because it's not easy to get into the houses of these people, right? And they opened the door for you, and you were able to talk to them. So if you can tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So Trafficked is an 8-part series that airs on Wednesdays on National Geographic. And in each episode, we explore a different black market. So they're all incredibly wild rides into some of the most secretive and darkest corners of our world. We explore everything from guns to drugs to steroids, counterfeit money, tigers, and all of sort of large black markets that make billions and billions of dollars. And the reason I wanted to do this show is because there is so much information out there about the legal economy. There's whole organizations devoted to analyzing all the ups and downs and twists and turns and IPOs of the legal economy, and yet we know so little about the illegal economy, the informal economy, these black and gray markets that actually make up for almost half of the global economy. So that was the impetus behind this show and why I thought it was important to do so. And yet, I think one of the interesting things to add to that is that black markets have a daily and very strong and impact on our daily lives, and we're not aware of it. So right now there could be a woman next door to you that could be a victim of sex trafficking. There's a deal, outside your door that could be happening that involves illegal guns and drugs. You could have a fake $100 bill in your pocket and not know it right now.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that surprised me is how they operate. They operate sometimes even like legal businesses. For instance, in Jamaica, all the call centers, it looked like a legit call center, and the way that these people were operating, it was very organized and very seamless. And you get those calls all the time. I get calls from IRS saying I need to pay taxes that I didn't pay, and the police is going to come to me. I get calls from, you want this trip, you want this, you want that. And, of course, I'm not the profile. I'm not gullible in that sense. I'm like, yeah, sure. But like, elder people and some other people that they really fall for it in daily basis.
Yeah. And the thing is that you think you're not the profile, but you might be. We can all be gullible. I had a friend recently, just the other day, who was called by what looked completely legitimate. It looked like it was the LADWP, which is the power company here in Los Angeles. And he told them that they were about to cut his power for his whole family because he owed money, and he fell for it and, gave his credit card information, and they scammed him out of several $100s. And so that can happen to anyone. I think that it's wrong to think that it would never happen to you. That's what we saw again and again. I mean, we saw them. I was very curious about who are these people on the other side of those phone calls that we get constantly, and then going there and meeting with these scammers and spending time with them and seeing them operate and make some of these phone calls and realizing the amount, the vast array and different types of victims that are on this other side of the line is really, really mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I got, now that you said the scam, like, sometimes buying things online, you buy this ad on Instagram, you think, oh my God, this is really cute, I'm going to buy it. And then the bag that you're buying or the present never arrives. It's true. I fell for it. Now that you say that,
yeah,
I did.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's and tell me a little bit how was to film all these things, and how was to were you afraid of getting in touch with these people? Because like, you know, they're like dangerous, some more than others, but I just wanted to see how you approached them, and, you know, how were your precautions, and if you had fears, and yeah.
Yeah, I've been working in these black markets for over 15 years, so I have sources and connections all around the world. And I would also say that, you know, so it takes a lot of time. I'd say for every yes we got dozens and dozens of no's. It's definitely the most challenging part of my job and my team's job, is to get people who accept to talk to us. And then once we do, you know, there you know, clear rules about protecting people's identities, and that's partly why they agreed to talk to us, is because we're very serious and we take it very seriously. But getting them to trust us is also a huge part of our jobs. You know, in the majority of cases, there's a fear that we're law enforcement. So there's what we call, I like to call them our underworld first dates, which is when we first meet the people that that are willing to at least meet us with no cameras and no audio equipment, and just it's sort of a dance to see how we can start trusting each other. And at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that we're not law enforcement. And the way that I treat them, which is always sort of on the same level, with respect and with empathy, that I'm there not to judge, I'm there to listen to their stories, because I think it's much more valuable to understand how these markets operate, than it is to judge people without knowing anything about why they do what they do. And once I approach them this way, I think it's one of the reasons why they're open and willing to share their stories and their lives with us.
That's true. That's true. And then you see some of their side of the stories, like, you know, that they might be doing this because they could not pay for the surgery for the grandpa, and, you know, this type of things that you're like, okay, you know, I mean, it's not right what they're doing, but there's a reason, you know.
By no means are we justifying the act. Mm-hmm. You know, hate the sin, not the sinner. Unless, and if you really truly want to stop these black markets from operating and want to do something about it, I think the best thing, that you have the best tool in your hands, is knowledge and understanding why it is that people turn to black markets. And again, we realized while doing this series that in so many situations, it truly is because of a lack of opportunity. If you're talking to a kid who's a teenager and, you know, smuggling cocaine out of the Rain Valley in Peru, where a lot of the world's cocaine comes from, and it's incredibly dangerous and backbreaking work, and he's making almost no money, and he's doing it only because he wants to save money to go to college, then you realize that if he had any other opportunity and any other job, he would rather take that. And these were more often than not the stories we heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there something within these black markets that surprised you the most? Like, for me, it was the asteroids. I was like, I didn't know there was like a black market on asteroids, but there was something that like really shocked you once you learned about it.
I think all of them. I mean, steroids, definitely the idea that I had no idea that we spoke to suburban moms and teenagers still in high school, and cops and military, and a long list of people that you'd least expect were taking steroids and are in fact taking steroids. You know, especially sort of the suburban mom among the teenagers, for me, was mind-blowing. But also, but I'd say in all of them, there was sort of an element of surprise, just how widespread these are, how they operate very much out in the open. We filmed a gun deal happening just 10 minutes from my home here in Los Angeles. In the middle of a regular weeknight, a car being packed with AK-47s and AR-15s, with, you know, cars passing by, families living all around, and they weren't even trying to hide it. And I think this is what truly shocked me about filming this series.
Yeah, that it can be anywhere, right?
Yes, no matter small towns to big cities, there's a very high chance that there's some sort of black market operating right next door to you.
No. And kind of to wrap it up, what do you want people to take from this series when they watch it? What would you like them to, you know?
The themes are certainly can be seen as incredibly depressing, and they have a terrible impact in people's lives. You know, whether people are dying from overdoses, the drugs that are coming from certain places of the world, or because of tiger trafficking, you know, the numbers of tigers in the wild are dwindling, or the side effects of steroids. We know what the consequences are. But I do hope that the takeaway from this series is that in one way or another, we can listen to people's stories, connect with people that we think we have nothing in common with, realize that there's so much more that unites us than separates us, and truly understand that unless we create, some sort of difference, and unless we, raise awareness towards the inequality and the poverty that exists around the world, and we do something about it, that we're not going to change a thing. But that at the end of the day, even when you travel to the far edges of our society, we can still find people that are redeemable and relatable. And so there's a message of positivity and optimism and hope in the series.
Totally. Is there